So today I'm trying to spend with God, and you're gonna hear a lot of water because there's a culvert behind me right there, and that's kind of important. I wasn't gonna do this today, but I think I need to do it for my own reminder. So I'm at our camper, and I'm looking at this gorgeous. You can see this gorgeous body of water, and I find myself always coming to water when I'm trying to make a decision. I'm trying to figure out what God wants, because there's just something so peaceful even about tumultuous water. Not that it is tumultuous right now, and there's just something so, like, I feel so connected to God when I'm just sitting in the quiet with him here. And I'm trying to figure out, we're coming to kind of a little bit of a crossroads. We're trying to make some decisions about what the next steps are that God has for us. And it's a struggle. And there's a lot of fear and a lot of concerns and a lot of, well, from my end, general panic. Not that that's necessary in the slightest. It's not panic worthy, but that's fear of unknown, right? And I sent a message to the girls in my Bible study, I love them to death, about just asking them for prayer, asking them for clarity, and is there a message that God tells them that they need to tell me? And one of my friends sent me a message back, and she said, I see a path through tall grass, a small stone path through the tall grass, and I can't see anything else, and the path leads towards light. And the message comes back: peace, follow the path, don't make your own path. And on the one hand, I sit there and go, well, thanks, that's helpful. But then I'm sitting here, right, when I read this message. I chose not to read it till I came here. Chose not even to look at what it's like, didn't open it, nothing, till I came here. And I'm sitting on this bench here because there's a culvert, right, of water draining out, right? And the water goes all the way there, right? And it's going, like, it's not stopping. It's going with the rocks. It's not stopping. Here's the interesting thing. Where I'm sitting on this little bridge, right? On this bridge is that. Now, inevitably, this is water that tried to find its own path, that tried a different route. And yes, as you can see, based on all that, right? Based on all that, you can obviously see that at some point enough water was coming through that culvert to create that path. And it was going merrily along. But at some point, it dried up, and it wasn't actually the path that it was supposed to go on. Because you see, there's big rocks bordering the path. That's where the path's supposed to be. This was overflow when the water was too much. And now there's stagnant, still water that's not going anywhere. I know we talk biblically about taking the path that is narrow and straight. That don't take the path that everybody else is taking, right? And you'd think that this would be a situation of, hey, the water's all going down that one, so I shouldn't take that one. But the reality, I think, in this particular case, and what I think God's showing me, is that, yes, I could carve my own path, and yeah, that will work for a time. That could work really, really well for a time. But that's not the path that he would have me on, and therefore, at some point, it's going to dry up. At some point, I'm going to be stuck. And I know enough from my past experiences and past choices to know that there have been times where in desperation, in confusion, in uncertainty, in fear, I have leapt down the path and off the stone path and into the weeds, not knowing where my feet step. And while I haven't been bitten by a snake yet, there's possibility. I have a friend, another friend, also the other woman in my Bible study, who will not go through tall grass, hates going through tall grass because she has an absolute phobia of snakes. And if you can't see them, you can't know they're not there. And they live in tall grass. Not that we, where I live, have snakes that can kill, but it's the thought of it, right? In this case, I do believe God's taking me to telling me to take the path that He has chosen. I really wish He'd just give me a very clear to-do list. This is what you got to do. This is where you got to go. These are the exact next steps. Plural, always, right? That's what we would always like, is very clear, defined, do this, then this. You want a to-do list. We want an order of, we want order. We want a way to, we just want a to-do list. These are the steps, take them. Unfortunately, that's not usually how God works. Usually how God works is you sit, you abide, you listen. And you take the time to figure it out. And you ask for wise counsel, and you ask others to pray. Because the way that one person listens may not be the way that you listen. So maybe He's able to communicate a different way through somebody else. It's amazing how peaceful listening to the water and seeing the water travel out into this lake, or river actually. And you see all the waves going through. They're rippling through all the rocks. And yeah, some of them are hitting rocks, and some of them are getting, some of the water maybe sifting through the weeds. But no matter what, it makes it through. And it ends up joining the great plan. If you're feeling like you're in a I don't know phase, you're feeling like you have no idea what the next step is and you're drowning, and goodness knows you just wish that things would stop, and you just wish you could have a to-do list that's easy to accomplish. Realize that if you're on the path that God has called you to be on, He's walking beside you the whole way. He will carry you and guide you around the rocks and through the weeds. He will make it so that way you will get to the end goal. If He has called you to do something, He will provide the way. And if ever you need time to try and figure it out, set aside the time. Turn off socials. Get out in His creation. Because in His creation, there are actually far less distractions from what He has to say than in our own homes and in our own spaces. Find a body of water. I know it kind of sounds Disney-like, heaven forbid. But there is truth to the calming peace that comes from being in God's world, being out in His creation, and just seeing the wonder and majesty that He created. I mean, really and truly. Follow His path, even if it doesn't make sense. Bye, y'all.